What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant, and joining the show once again is Across the Park host. You still host, are you, lad, or what?
I don't know, am I?
Well,
Twitter's spoken, like, I think I'm lucky to still be here by the sounds of it.
Gary is thankfully joining me again. He's not been ousted out of the city after his remarks over Jordan Pickford, which I thought was, you know what I learned from that little final moment? You've got a very fragile fan base at the moment, Everton.
I think I could have told you that before the episode. I think the one. I'm not going to come back and retract my statement. I think you need to, because loads of people agreed. And I wasn't suggesting that I was going to. I think the bit that certainly got to a lot of people, and I have to stand corrected on, is that I said that I made the statement that most Evertonians agree with me. Clearly, from the Twitter audience, that isn't the case. Most Evertonians I know do agree with me, but yeah, look, I think I'm not on Twitter, by the way, but I ended up jumping on our Across the Park Twitter just to defend myself a little bit. And one of the comments I made to someone was like, I didn't do a poll here, I didn't stand outside Goodison, clicking a thing to see how many people like Pickford or not, but clearly there's a large percentage of Evertonians who are massively behind Jordan, and I'm not saying I don't support the lads, it's just not for me. But
what I found was mad about it though, and again, you kind of saw the best and the worst of Twitter. It's great how, a bit of news you can put out can go viral and can do bits, which is great. But then I seen one fella, he's talking to that Andy Grant, an absolute fool of a man, wouldn't listen. I was like someone never even met me, never met you, and just straight away.
I got called a lot of words there, I mean, people were saying, and hopefully this person's watching, and if they are, then I look forward to seeing you. I've seen this lad in Crosby and Formby. Like, what are you suggesting? That, someone needs to come after me?
Wow, it's mad.
Really?
Mad. But what I thought was really interesting as well, I spoke to me mate last night, and he was saying that there is no affection though for any of the players at the moment, in the sense that, people seem to be jumping at Pickford's defence almost, but I don't think there's many players in that squad that people at the, like, you look at Liverpool, for example, only can compare it, but like Bobby Firmino's going to be leaving. He's having this, song getting sung for 20 minutes. When I look at Everton, you look at like Ferguson over the years, and like there's been players where Tim Cahill was one of them.
Seamus Coleman's an exception. Seamus Coleman, without doubt. I mean, I'm not going to speak for all Evertonians again, but for me, how can you not love or admire what Seamus Coleman's done for the club and his service to the club?
But he's got to be the only one then. As in, well, me mate was saying, I'm not going to throw my mate under the bus, but he was a bit
Tarkowski's got a bit of, I don't think you can really, some of the lads who've been recently through the door, I don't think you can really level that at them. But yeah, there's been a lot of players that are on overly inflated wages, which, is that their fault? Maybe not. I think I'd agree with you, mate, in that, for me, most of the players, I wouldn't really like throw myself under the bus for. I wouldn't throw myself in the way, defend them and stuff publicly.
I think, and that's one of the reasons we spoke off air. I think that was one of the reasons Pickford seems to have this, because he's made a few high-profile mistakes against Liverpool, seems to have this relationship with Liverpool fans and vice versa. And I think that was the other reason, I think, why people didn't want to see a match going blue, sticking the knife in a bit where it's normally Liverpool fans' job. I think that's where you probably got the brunt of it a bit.
Yeah, defo, and that's part of the reason why, like I said, it annoys me, the fact that yous always take the piss out of him. It's like, we don't need that, you don't need a player for yous to have something on, like the whole dinosaur arms thing. Like, it's just funny. A lot of the memes are funny, but it's like he's always an easy target, isn't he? And like in our position, we're an easy target enough as a team, as a club, with our recent performances and on and off the pitch, without having someone else who's going to be another divisive figure. But yeah, you're spot on. I guess. If you're a staunch Evertonian, which I consider myself to be, obviously not as staunch as some of the people.
No, you are, but you've got reason. You're educated with reason. Right? You can debate.
Let's not say that other people aren't educated.
But I will. Fuck
you can
some
say
of those people on Twitter, mate.
Listen,
they were saying things that you made a point of. It's like a fantasy football team. You can't put Haaland in and have amazing midfield. So you maybe sacrifice Haaland and put 3 decent mid.
100%, yeah. Like remember years ago when I used to play, like back in the day, fancy footy in the mirror. Yeah. And you like underline the players, and you only had like that. That's the old school. And I'd always sacrifice me keeper and go, whatever, he's gonna get.
People just seem to ignore that point and go, he's fucking.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Muskie done me like a kipper.
What did you say?
And because a few people actually, once they'd watched the whole episode, when I watched the whole episode, or I watch the whole. I mean, that's not Muskie's fault.
Fuck it, blame Muskie, we throw him under the bus.
But
I'm glad you're back anyway, lads, because I enjoy our chats.
You did.
Probably only place to start off really is Man City.
Thought you were going to give me another player then to start to
start slagging.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Talk about Man City because I've said for weeks now I think they'll do the treble. Do you know what I'm going to go on a limb and saying, and you know, it's a bit of a stupid kind of analogy.
Wouldn't be the first time, was it?
No, it wouldn't. But honestly, I actually was thinking about this morning on the drive in.
It's even more worrying.
And I feel, and I'm not trying to be all like funny and try and get a little bit thing saying this, but honestly, right, it feels as if a little bit the whole Man City thing with the money they've had, you know, they've got 115 cases going against them or something of like breaking the rules.
Don't start getting jealous, lads, and saying, oh, they shouldn't be allowed to do this and that.
Well, it is a little bit, and I was going to say the analogy I want to give, I feel like, you know, you're in year 7, right? You go into senior school and then there's obviously girls from all different primary schools and you're like, wow. And you see the kind of love of your life, right? And over the next kind of few years, you start working in, you know, becoming friends with her, you know, sitting next to her in class, walking her home, right? And then you get to kind of year 10 and 11 and you're kind of thinking, wow, this is maybe, you know, something could happen. Yeah, you start, you know what I mean? You start getting into your adolescence thinking this could happen. And then in year 10 and 11, someone moves to your school who's like, you know, 16 or got a beard, unbelievable,
chiseled, play the guitar,
cool as fuck, and you just think those 3 or 4 years,
all that graft to put in,
it's gone for naught. And I feel that's Man City.
I can't listen. All the financial fair play stuff. Look, you know, it became a bit of a running joke. However, I looked around at that team last night, and it's not an overnight job that anymore. You know, you've got Stone. Look, listen. You've got John Stones, you've got Kyle Walker. They've been there now for 6-7 years. Phil Foden's obviously
but they've been sports washing for 6, 7, 10 years, whatever it is.
You can't not. I don't care how you look at it. You can't not respect the team that's been put together.
Listen,
we've shown how easy it is to blow 500, 600, 700 million. All right, the degree of how responsible they've been with that and how close they've gone to the edge and how many rules they've broke is not up for debate. Like I can't. We're not financial analysts, you know, and I don't think we need to be to say that they have broke some rules there.
Yeah.
But who wouldn't? What other club wouldn't do that? Would you be disappointed if your club done it and built a team like they built there? Because they're not like Real Madrid Galacticos. Like they're not. Like there's not £200 million players there.
Are you messing?
No, they're not. Give me. They haven't bought like a back in the day a Figo or Ronaldo. There's Haaland. Yeah, great, but.
Grealish was £100 million midfielder.
Yeah, but he's not in that yet. Only because Villa wanted that money for him. He wasn't like, look, he's the best player. He's not getting paid more money than. He's not getting paid silly money compared to maybe the top 10 players in the world.
But by the way,
and you know what? He's humbled in that team. Grealish is a different player now. And
Gary, I'm not saying though that. Listen, if you kind of made everyone wear different kits, play in different stadiums, and almost put balaclavas on them. And asked them to play football, I am not denying that is an unbelievable, well-coached,
and he's improved them individually as well. Yeah. Kevin De Bruyne.
Not denying that.
When he was signed, he was nowhere near the player he is now.
Of course,
nowhere near.
Not denying
Rodri
that.
Wasn't. Rodri's a different player to what he was. Mahrez is a different player.
But that's what money does though, lad.
No, it doesn't though. Good coaching does that, and a system does that, and a team does.
John
Stones. I was made up when we sold John Stones. Like I'm probably going to get another loads of abuse here, but I was because I thought, you know, he's not a proper centre-half. He can't really defend. I watched him last night and I was sitting in a decent seat in City Stadium watching the game. Obviously not as a City fan, not as just a footy fan. And John Stones stood out for me because he made the game as a defender look so easy. He hardly had to make a tackle in the whole game.
Again, I'm not doubting that, and we'll come on to the actual performance, but just on the whole of Man City in general, what you're failing to see, and I think partly your reason for not maybe joining me in my view, is you haven't been going toe-to-toe with them. And that's why I use the analogy of a kid in school. You know, you're trying your best.
So the minute you're not winning, because you aren't winning trophies now, it's like, oh, no, you start...
But I think Arsenal start feeling like Liverpool fans have now. Because again, Gary, you need to be perfect, right? To even have a chance.
It's good. Thing is, though, it's great to see that, though. Like, I watch a lot of...
unfair, Gary.
But I watch a lot of Italian footy and a lot of league footy. And it's been crap this year that you haven't had a team that's set the standard. Like Barcelona are going to end up with 90-odd points, but they're a poor team. Like Napoli have blew that league away, but you've seen in the, you know, they've come up short massively in the Champions League. They've lost like 2 or 3 games on the bounce here. They aren't the team that you know,
I know, but
Man
Gary,
City
it's going to get boring now, though.
Won't get boring. It shouldn't get boring. Shouldn't get boring.
Well, they've won the league, 3 times on the spin now?
Yeah. Yeah, but...
They're blowing everyone away. Apart from when Liverpool have a miraculous season.
The teams that are coming up against them, though, including yourselves, you're not spending pennies. You've still got the capability of spending... You spent 200 million last summer. Nunes, I mean, all right, not their fault that how much do you spend on Nunes? 80 million, 70 million?
70, I think so.
That's no joke.
Okay, give me your thoughts on this then. I was speaking to my mate Adam last night, who's an Arsenal fan, right? He said he's seen it, he was gutted, obviously Arsenal, you know, come up short. And he said he's seen a stat which I can't get my head around. I need to try and word this right. If you go kind of wage bill for wage bill between Man City and Arsenal, right? It's the equivalent of each player earning 200 grand a week more. 11 players.
I don't think that's true.
It is. He's told me, right?
So you're saying the average wage?
In that squad, right? In that squad, each 11 players in that squad, it's the same as having, it's 200 grand a week more, right? So you just say that. So could we work it out?
All right, but are we sure this is true, by the way? He's just plucked this out because he's an Arsenal fan who's obviously he's almost, if not more, better than you are at this stage.
It was something like, that was it. Times 12. It was something like, so over a year, basically,
250 million.
It was something like they're spending, I get the exact stat, you could probably Google it. If you're spending, say, for argument's sake, £100 million a year more on your staff, say me and you both own fucking businesses, right? A car wash, right? And you've got a car wash there, I've got a car wash down the road, and you're spending... a clothing thing then, thing, and you're spending £100 million more. Yeah, why are you so shocked then? If I'm outperforming you, but I'm paying my staff fucking 10 times what you're paying your staff. But it's not. But
people are putting the money in, aren't they? And like obviously there's been rules put in place to try and level the playing field.
And they broke those rules though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the governing body here.
I'm saying is really. Is just really, obviously, people go, crying ass. And yet I am moaning about it because the best team I've seen, Liverpool team I've seen, have come up short now many times because of a team that's essentially cheated. Arsenal will feel aggrieved.
But isn't that the history of, and not necessarily on footy, but the history of football has been full of them stories of some club or several clubs have been hard done by because this has happened and it's like a bit of a chain reaction.
But this isn't just a little thing that's happened, mate. And what I will go on and say is Arsenal will feel like this now, and if it's next year and it's maybe United come up short, as long as City are allowed to get away with not facing the day in court because of all these, you know, paying lawyers millions of pounds and all that, as long as this goes on, it's not going to be fun. And I do listen. I know I sound
disagree.
Like a kind
it's not going to be. You do sound really bitter here.
I do,
like,
yeah,
it's quite
and
good,
I admit,
it's quite nice.
But I think you'd be the same if you were going toe to toe with them.
Well, we've got the shoe on the other foot to a certain extent at the moment because we've got 5 clubs that have put in a revised appeal now. Basically,
is that true? Is it? I thought
it was
seen in the paper yesterday.
It was documented yesterday. I mean, a few of them wanted it fast tracked so that any punishment was brought into play. Now that's not going to happen. But yeah, you've got Leicester, Forest. By the way, Forest are trying to say that we broke financial fair play rules. I want to see their books in a couple of years' time because they spent about 300 million last summer and they've only just come into the Premier League. So I'm not sure about that. Leicester were another one. I mean, Leicester are on their asses, aren't they? But I think the reason why they couldn't spend for a while is because they were walking the line. So maybe they've got a pace. Burnley, another one that have put something in. Leeds, all them teams that are in the mix or have been relegated whilst we've been in that position. So we're in there, but like...
But the grievance that you'll have, let's just say for argument's sake, these all clubs put a little appeal in and you end up going down. The fucking hatred and bitterness you'd feel to them is probably akin to what we feel for City. But
the hatred and bitterness that City fans would feel would be similar, wouldn't it?
Why has City got to feel bitter about anything?
Because for me, why is it so retrospective? Why does it take them so long to enforce this? So let's say, for instance...
Yeah, that's the piss take, yeah.
Let's say, for instance, then, because the whole competition is a farce then. So let's say, for instance, the end of the season, these use the term and the 100 of these charges are legitimate. How can they not strip them of all those titles? And if they do, and they get awarded to say Inter Milan get the Champions League, Arsenal get the league. It's not the same, is it?
No.
You'd be like, oh, Sam, we got a league trophy now.
And that's what I mean. It's coming
like
back
when
to...
you won it in lockdown. It's not the same, is it?
Fucking shut up, you tit. And that's the point I'm getting at. I agree in everything you've said about that team. Guardiola, unbelievable. How he's brought them all on. Mate, I agree in everything you're saying. My problem and my bitterness and my anger and my sadness comes from, you know, the people who govern it essentially, because it isn't fair. And listen, City fans can get on the wind up and all that.
Let's be honest. There's a lack of clarity, and there's a distinct lack of enforcement, and that's what City have took advantage of. They've exploited loopholes. But again, I go back to my previous question. Would you be, if your club managed to do that, would you be sitting there having this argument?
Yeah, I'd probably be laughing at it.
Money talks again. Money does talk. But if someone come into Liverpool and you know, spoke to your owners and went, right, I'm going to give you £1 billion here, and we're going to use 100 million of it to have the best lawyers that are going to be our backstop, but go to town clock, go and spend 900 million, go and build the team you want. In 2 years' time, you're going to win the treble, guaranteed. You know,
I think why Liverpool fans, or especially me anyway, feel a little bit aggrieved by it is almost, and I'm not saying we haven't spent money, of course we did, but we've done such good business in the transfer market, which is arguably a bit of luck, by the way. The fact that, you know, Coutinho gets sold for 140, we managed to grab Alisson and Van Dijk in. There's a bit of luck that goes in with the timing of things, but we almost done it like in the right way. It felt anyway for me. We didn't just go and spend randomly. We had to, you know, be shrewd at our business.
Here's another one then. So I asked that question before, saying, would you want your club to do it? Would you get more satisfaction, and did you get more satisfaction out of winning the league, knowing you've done it the right way? Okay, so why are you bothered then? So if you're morally, you know that's the right thing.
Because at the end of the day, yeah, it did feel nice to win one, but we should have won more, and we didn't because of fucking this juggernaut.
Not just that though. You made some mistakes and
lad, we took them to within a point for 2 seasons.
All right, but you didn't maintain that, did you? You didn't take the chance to replenish and replace that midfield.
No, well, that's another argument.
Although you've done very well in the transfer market, in order to maintain it, it's very difficult to build a good side, but it's even more difficult to then regenerate and refresh a good side. And I think, and I don't think many people's arguing with this, that's where you fell short. And that's where it's like, but if you would have replaced some of the midfielders, you'd still be doing it. It
comes back to the point though where you've got to be nigh on perfect to go against that City team. You have, Gary. They've got 2 11s there that could win the league.
I watched last night what's been one of the best European sides.
We'll actually talk about the football side of things, but I just felt that, because the last thing I say on that side of it, and I don't know what you'll think about this, but when they do that treble, in my eyes, and it breaks me to say this because Man United ruined my childhood, Man United's treble will still be, in my eyes, far more superior than this Man City team.
I agree anyway. I think any football fan who isn't a Man City fan would probably agree with that. I'm not saying that Man United team is a better team.
No.
But like all the drama that went with it and how close to it, you know it yourself, do you know what I mean? There's always more satisfaction when it goes to, and you're having to dig deep, and subs are coming off the bench that are like...
And not only that, but there was that feeling, I always think, which I respect United for, is that homegrown talent as well. I'm not saying they didn't spend money, of course they did, but there was that homegrown feel of it. You know, this City team, how you can actually look at it and go, yeah, fair play, knowing all the smoke that's going on behind them with these charges, with it's fucking...
The only reason I say fair play is that there's been a handful of teams in Premier League history that have tried to throw money on it and have been unsuccessful. A handful, big money as well. Like QPR, for example, remember how much money QPR spends? They got it disastrously wrong. We've got it disastrously wrong. City almost
just because they've done it well doesn't mean it's all right.
No, what I mean though is as a business person, and I consider myself to be a businessman as well, you've got to have respect for the way they have built it, and they've strategically putting the right manager in there in the first place and attracting that manager is one. But they've got a director of football.
The fact he's got an offshore account probably does help with all that, you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know that.
And I don't know that, no one's trying to sue me, allegedly.
I was going to say, you've already had enough with the Ashley case last year, so you don't need any more.
Anyway, but... Right, let's move on to the footy because I don't want to be too bitter for too long. I purposely didn't watch it because I fucking knew they'd win.
I don't want to be too bitter for too long, and I didn't watch it
because I knew they'd win. So
you were the Champions League semi-final.
You were at the game. I don't care. You were at the game. Go on. How good were they?
You know what? They were just so efficient. Like there was no. I won't say there was no effort. They just had complete conviction on and off the ball. They started. I mean, look, I'm not going to go through the whole game, but watching it from where I was, I seen them start, and they started just by passing it between the back four, and I'm thinking, you're playing into Madrid's hands, you're giving them, and Benzema almost nicks the ball quite early on off Akanji, literally on the edge of their area, and thinking, what are you doing here? But they just knew exactly how they wanted the game was going to play out. They had the courage and conviction to play it round the way. It looked like they were playing at West Ham at home.
That's what they can do too, though, isn't it?
The way that they went about the business. And I was looking at the bench thinking, look, and I'm not for a second going to suggest that Ancelotti got it tactically wrong, because he's won more European trophies than I've got, or he's got more European medals than I've got Sunday League medals. But I'm looking at the bench thinking, you need to get some energy in that midfield. Kroos and Modric, aged 10 years within 90 minutes, they just looked finished. Legs, in terms of the legs, couldn't get on the ball. But again, City played the way they play. Madrid almost thought, okay, we're going to play the way we play, and you just thought, you can't live with it. They couldn't get out of their defensive third with the ball. City just completely strangled them. The way the kind of used to do a few years ago off the ball, they were as effective off the ball as they were on the ball. I wouldn't say they were like unbelievable on the ball, but they should have been 4-0 up at half time. Courtois made saves on the level of the saves he made against Hughes.
In the final, yeah.
Like,
few lads in the group chat said
3 or 4 saves that were like top draw. And when he made them first few, you thought, oh, maybe it's going to be another one of them nights for Madrid. But they just couldn't get behind City. There was one chance in the second half where Vinicius kind of half gets in and there's a bit of a scramble in the area. But it was 3-0 at that point, I think, or maybe 2-0, but it was at least 2-0. They never looked. At half time, at 2-0, you're half thinking, Madrid have done this before. They've done it last year at the Bernabeu when there was a goal advantage to City. Yeah. They scored 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes, but you just never got the feeling they were ever going to get back in the game. And to do that to a team like Madrid,
and that's what scares me,
in such an efficient manner.
I was at both the Madrid home and away leg, and watching Madrid in the Bernabeu, it looked like it was just men against boys. And then to know that Liverpool can get turned over, and then you see Man City do that to Madrid, what Madrid done to us, it's like, wow.
Yeah, and I just from a purest football perspective, forgetting all the money and all the stuff we just spoke about before, you can only admire every position. Like I was speaking to the Jordan and Joe who I went with last night, and I was like, I'm not sure how to play Bernardo Silva today. I probably went with Mahrez. Bernardo Silva scores 2. Yeah. And he was arguably man of the match, but you could have played Mahrez in that position, and you would have got as much from him in a different way. Phil Foden's sitting on the bench. Alvarez comes off the bench and scores. It's just,
you're bringing on World Cup winners, aren't you? It's depth, it's unbelievable.
Incredible depth. And you know what's most impressive about them? I've seen this firsthand. I've seen these twice in a week now. I've seen them with 4 different players in the team against us at Goodison. They're such a big team now as well. The beasts, the athletes. Like, you used to look at City 3 or 4 years ago and think, we can get amongst these, we can bully them. You've bullied them a few times. That back 4 now, 3 of the biggest players you'll see in the Premier League in terms of physique. Akanji, Walker's always been a bit of a beast, but he looks even bigger than he was.
It's like athletic, aren't he?
Yes, John Stones is a he's always been a Rolls Royce of a defender. Royal Rumble. He's been a Rolls Royce of a defender in terms of on the ball, but now he looks just so.
Oh, like I said to you, mate,
Diaz as well.
I can't knock them. To watch them again, if you just looked at them, he played in black kits and you didn't know where they were from. You'd go, wow, that's the best team ever. It's the fact that anyway, but yeah, fair play to them.
Great performance. One of the most effortless, Champions League second leg performances you'll see. Bar maybe I'm saying that you had a bit of a slow start against Villarreal last year, didn't you? But you battered them, didn't you? It was like they were never even in the tie almost, Villarreal. But when you're talking about Real Madrid, absolute European royalty.
That's what's scary. That's their competition.
Yeah, but to go back to the Real Madrid side of it, I definitely thought they needed Camavinga in the midfield early. They needed Chimene in there. They probably needed Asensio in there. I think he got it wrong trying to just play those 3 that he always plays in there. He just went with
whether Ancelotti will stay there now. Just talking.
I don't think he will. I think he needs. It's mad, but I think the fact that he's lost the league by such a margin to a poor Barcelona team, the Madrid fans won't have that, and he's not. There's not much love lost on the board anyway. Some of the board members just don't
rate him, which is mad. But
yeah, I think that's probably the nail in his coffin.
the night before, you had the...
Carlo, you're welcome back anytime.
You had the Milan derby into swept AC aside over the 2 legs. I cannot see anything other than City winning that now.
They're a team of old men, like Inter, and they're on a level below Real Madrid. So
it's mad when you think of the strikers. They got Lukaku and Dzeko, and now you're thinking, how are they still like? Yeah, how are they playing in the Champions League?
And Lukaku is infamously not a big game player. He just goes to bits in finals or in big games. He just goes missing. So if they're thinking of rolling him out, then that's not going to work. Putting Dzeko against Diaz and Stones and Walker, and even if they played Laporte and you know, it's a mismatch on so many levels. You know, even Martinez, Lautaro, I just can't see how Lautaro Martinez is going to get any space to be able to operate. There's just no advantage they've got on them at all. It could be the most one-sided Champions League final we'll ever see.
It will be. We will keep it on the Champions League, but bring it to the Prem and the kind of race for top 4. Liverpool, you know.
I mean, is it interesting, to be fair to you? Like,
I was on the form for like the last 10 games. Liverpool are second. You know what I mean? They've been absolutely flying. The last 5 games, they're 15 points from 5 games, same as City. You know, we've made a good go with it. I personally don't think we're going to get top 4.
It's mainly the fixtures for the other 2 teams, isn't it, really, as well?
I think Liverpool's last 2 games, Villa and Southampton are blankers, but Newcastle have got to go to Brighton, which is tonight, I think it is.
It is. That's a massive
tonight,
game.
Yeah, so sorry.
That's a massive one, actually, yeah.
They got Leicester and then Chelsea, so they've got to drop points in 2 games.
What if they got to... do you need them to just get 3 points or 4 points?
So we've played a game more than them at the moment, and they're a point ahead.
Yeah, but you need 6 and they need 4. So you need them to lose,
our goal
drop
difference,
points in 2 games. As you
our goal difference is better than United by loads, but Newcastle's better than ours by
so they can afford to have 2 draws and a win. They can afford 2 draws and a win because of the goal difference, potentially.
No, it's only 4 though, so it's only 4 goals. Newcastle's better, so it's not like massive.
Yeah, but you'd need to smash the other 2, wouldn't you? Because if they draw twice, that means they're not going to lose any goals, and if they win 1, then they're going to be, you know what I mean? So
I suppose, yeah. But we're playing Southampton, so maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't see it. I was half being the kind of bitter wind-up that I am. I was thinking, you know, if Leicester beat us, obviously it's not great for you. And I was thinking Europa League. I am sounding like a twat now, but I've been to all the big European stadiums now. I was thinking...
You're going to try and go back to the narrative of, like, you were trying to spin us going down to the Championship as being a positive because we go to new grounds.
Yeah. I literally wouldn't...
Luton are coming up, you can go to Luton next year.
There you go, yeah.
That'll be different for
I wouldn't have minded the Europa League, just apart from the Thursday night, and it affects your league performance potentially.
The Thursday night though, it's Friday the next day, so it's like a long weekend, isn't it? So it is a...
But listen,
I'm a long way from thinking about
that. Been fortunate to go to, you know, the San Siro, the Bernabeu, the Nou Camp, all of them. So it would have been nice to go to a few different stadiums. And I think we will get to. I don't think we'll get the Champions League now. I think we've just left a little bit too late, which is unfortunate.
Just on a quick note, do you think that impacts your recruitment this summer? Because
no, I don't. I think I think maybe if we had other managers at the helm,
I guess McAllister's not going to be put off, is he? Because he's like, it's a bigger club, it's a step up for him, isn't it?
And that's the kind of the potential problem. Maybe I think the players we're going for, they're not coming from big clubs. They're coming from, you know.
You've never done that, really, though? Have you never generally took a player from a bigger club and brought them down?
As much as Liverpool, you know, the most stalwart of Liverpool fans would say Liverpool aren't a selling club. They are a selling club if you are selling to Real Madrid.
Any club's a selling club if you're not the best team in the world, aren't
essentially,
you?
Yeah.
So the only club at the moment that probably don't have to be a selling club is Man City.
Yeah.
Unless they're selling a player who's in that second 11 who's like, listen, I want game time.
Yeah.
Or, exactly, you know, and he... Yeah.
So it's... no, I don't think it'll affect recruitment purely because of the name. It's Liverpool, and I think actually arguably, maybe not more importantly, but the fact that Klopp's there. I think Klopp has got such a pull on the players, on recruitment. Developing players. I think he's obviously, you know, you could go through the whole Liverpool team and players he's improved. So I don't think that'll affect it. It's just unfortunate, I think, with the spends. I think that will affect it in a sense. You know, we've got owners already that are quite tight-fisted with giving part of the money. So I think that could be a problem. And anyway, I just can't see Newcastle or United dropping points. So it looks like Europa League for us.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm for Brighton, which would be a bit mad.
Is it 2 places, the Europa League then?
Yeah,
I was just looking at that.
2.
And then the one after that is the conference.
Which Tottenham or Villa.
My God.
So, yeah, Liverpool played Leicester, swept them aside. Leicester looks so bad.
Bad, aren't
like,
they?
so
They're
bad.
really bad. I mean, that's the fixture I'll look back on if we do end up going down. I'll think, how have we not beat Leicester? I know there was the penalty save and all that, but we should have put them away before they even got a goal back. So
yeah, they're really bad, and I can't see them surviving anymore now. I think Leeds is the only one I think who've got a chance. The fact that they brought Big Sam in, and the fact that the fixtures are potentially winnable.
Yeah.
Who've they got? It's West Ham, is it?
Leeds.
And, yeah.
Leeds' fixtures are really scaring me. The
West
more
Ham
I look
and Spurs,
at them.
I think.
West Ham and Spurs. They're
you know
scaring
I mean?
me, those fixtures, the more I look at them, honestly. I can see them getting 6 points. The more I look at them games and the more I consider the factors being West Ham are probably going to be in a European final, or they're not going to be in a European final. The players are thinking, jib this, Moyes is going. We're looking for, we're going to have a new manager and maybe going if I'm a player. I just think there's so many factors that you're thinking, where are those players' heads going to be at? Where's the manager's head going to be at? Spurs,
fucking shite.
I know, and the fact, if these have announced Nagelsmann by now and it was like formal, it's happening, he's coming to the last 2 games, I'd be thinking, all right, players are probably going to put a show on here and maybe step up. But the fact that that's all up in the air still, and
add to the fact that Big Sam there playing Newcastle, I thought they were unlucky there.
If
Bamford scores that pen, it's 2-0 up. That ground's rocking, by the way.
Yeah.
I would have thought it would be being difficult for Newcastle to come back into it.
Having said that though, how has Firpo not been sent off for the handball? If he gets sent off for the handball on that penalty, I think Newcastle scored again pretty much straight after the pen. So, but yeah, it was a much improved performance again from them, and I'm not surprised that they've improved the performance, but it's concerning. It's concerning because like they win both their games, we've got to win both our games.
You got better goal difference though.
Doesn't matter. Well, it only matters if we get.
No, but if you win the next 2 and Leeds win the next
2, if they win the next, we're ahead of them anyway. So if we better their results, it's fine. But if we get 3 points and they get 4 points, that's when the goal difference comes in. So the only way it comes in is if they draw 1, win 1, and we just win 1. So the way I can potentially see it going is maybe they draw at West Ham. We maybe get beat, which is possible against Wolves away. Goes into the last game and then we beat Bournemouth. They win their game into Tottenham and then we stay up on goal difference. That's the way the goal difference potentially comes into it, which I don't relish.
Do you know what's mad? I was in the gym the other day in the sauna talking to one of the Blues and I was like, are we feeling it, lad? All safe and sound now? And he was like, are we fuck? And I was a bit like, come on, you are now.
No, I don't think we are. I think whoever the Blue was he in his knack as well, feeling a bit uncomfortable at the same time.
Maybe, yeah. I'd be a bit more okay now if I was a Blue.
Well, again, I was speaking to another Blue who was in the match. So where I was sitting last night, by the way, in case people wondered, it was like a load of seats.
Corporate prawn sandwiches.
No, it wasn't actually. It was just in a stand. A tour company that we do some work with, Your Tour. They have like loads of groups of players that come over and kids who come over from other countries. So they've got like 50 tickets with Man City. So they'll have different seats all the time, but they're always guaranteed to have 50 tickets. And like, again, there was a group from Ireland and Wales that come over to watch the game last night, but there was a few tickets left. So
City need to give the tickets away somehow, mate.
No, they do. Oh, listen, mate, on that one, I don't want to go back to City again. It was a bit embarrassing, and
it's not sold out, was it?
No, it was sold out, but it was like, we're Scousers. There was loads of Scousers there, and I was thinking, and a City fan sitting behind us. If that was Everton and there was loads of Mancs sitting by me who were clearly not bothered about the game, and it was a Champions League, so I'd be like,
crazy.
Get out my ground.
Crazy.
So, but anyway, just going back to, I was speaking to an Evertonian at half time. That's how bizarre the whole setup was in the Champions League semi-final. And he was saying, you know what?
Probably the only time that will ever happen.
I know. Fair play. 3 weeks ago, he was saying I was resigned to us going down and actually felt okay about it. And I was in the same boat. But then after that Brighton game, it's like you're back in that pressure cooker.
Hope.
The hope that kills you, and it does with Everton. So, yeah, that's why I think there's more stress about it now, is because, it's back in our hands.
In your hands, yeah.
And we'd be throwing it away again, which would hurt more.
Yeah, no, I personally think he's a fine now, mate. On that note, you just mentioned him then, which brings in this question: the Firpo. By the way, he gets booked every game.
Oh, it's a safe, isn't it?
So you've found us this question this week. We've done the wheel of names, and it's Mark Owens. He's been a patron for a long while. So before I get it right, before I fuck up again, what is it? It's the most red cards in the Prem.
There's 3 players who hold the record joint for the most red cards in Premier League history. Okay. Name one of them.
And the answers
do you want to tell him? Do you want to tell him how many red cards it is?
8. You said
it's 8 red cards. Yeah.
And who is it?
The options are, or the answers are, Patrick Vieira, Richard Dunn, and Duncan Ferguson.
Right, for 100 quid. Let's go.
Take your time at reading it. Don't give him the answer this
Reading
time.
What?
Hello.
Mark Owens, what's happening?
What's happening, mate? How are we?
I'm good, lad. Yeah, how are you? You are on the Legged Podcast Sportscast quiz time, mate. You're playing for 100 quid.
100 quid, yeah. Go on then, mate.
Right, there are 3 players who are joint with the most red cards in the Premier League, right?
History.
Okay.
In history, right? It's on 8. Right, you only need to name one of them.
I know.
It's a hard one. I didn't think of this one. Yeah. Gary thought of this, mate. It wasn't me. It's a hard one.
Patrick Vieira.
Oh, well done, nailed it, lad. Yes. You could have had Vieira, Richard Dunn,
or Duncan Ferguson.
Oh, big dunk.
Lad,
you won the more obvious one, probably, wouldn't he?
You would, I know, yeah. Lad, you've won 100 quid. When we stop recording, I'll send that over, lad. Well done.
Always right, spot on, mate.
Well, Mark,
thanks for the support, lad. Mate. Cheers.
Go on,
nice
lad,
one. Ta-ra, mate.
That's
it. 100 quid won. If you want to get involved in the Sportscast quiz, all you need to do is sign up on Patreon. It's £1 a week. You're going to get access to other shows that we have on, early access to live events, and you're supporting the boys in the podcast, and you're in with a chance of winning money. So get signed up, and we appreciate the support.
Wonder how many red cards Gerrard and Roy Keane have got. Can't imagine, like early on, Roy Keane got quite a few. Like Vieira, I think in his first season, he got like 5 red cards, didn't he? And then didn't get that many after that.
I would have went down the route of, like I said, Joey Barton or someone like that. Someone who's a bit of a, like...
Joey Barton didn't get... And I was saying to you before we come on, I've just finished reading Joey Barton's book, which is a boss read, by the way. Particularly if you're a Scouser, because there's loads of context around stuff going on in Liverpool. But I think he only got like 2 red cards in it, or 3 red cards in his career. At Premier League level, anyway. Premier League level.
Sort of my red cards, people being naughty. Someone who has been naughty, which I don't think is that naughty, but is Ivan Toney. He has been banned for 8 months for, I don't know how many betting offences he's done. But
not that naughty though. I mean, some of the games were games he played in, I believe.
Really?
That's naughty, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And even so, I mean, look, I believe, I don't want to get sued by the FA or anyone else, but so I believe some of the games were games he played in. I mean, he weren't betting on himself to not score and things like that, but you know, the way markets, some believe that we're either impacted by Brentford or you know, we're involving him.
I feel really uneasy about all of this because I think
it's like inside trading though, isn't it? It's effective. Betting is a trading market now, particularly when you can lay bets. Yeah,
not so much on that. What I feel really uncomfortable with is the amount of money betting companies are pumping into these clubs and on...
Well, that's going to be banned soon, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Definitely.
It is. 2 years' time. I think it's 2025, because there was a big thing. I think it's like 12 of the 20 Premier League clubs have got betting companies on their shirts.
So how
but by 2025, I think it's banned.
You're promoting it all the time. You'd even look on Sky Sports, as soon as the adverts finish, it's like Bet365 are coming on there, do you know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Paul Mason, and because I've had my own problems with gambling in the past, I've read his book.
Oh my God, that's
it's a hard read, mate. Horrible. Hard read, and I've been there. Thank fuck not lost the amount of money he's lost, but he says, mate, at half time, he says where he struggles is he's watching a game of footy, and then half time comes, he has to, he goes out the room quickly because he knows the adverts are going to come on. So it's like, I'm thinking these people, the betting companies are pumping all this money in, they're paying all these money for the sponsorship, the adverts, the time on the radio, everything. So then one of the players ends up then having a little bet, and then gets fucking...
Not a little bet though, I mean, look, I again, I know what you're saying. Like,
would you understand me
probably
point
about
a bit
the
more
same, probably the same number of bets as like a normal person does.
Would you understand the point a bit more if he hadn't bet on himself or bet on games he was influenced in?
If he's no, it's still inside trading, isn't it? Like football is such a small world, even when you're on the cusp of it. When you're a player and you're in, like, look, players are like us. They've got probably like 15, 20 WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
Like, that's so easy for that type of conversation to go on. I threw a one on you, but all that, and like, I'm not saying that.
But I think that's where they should then release some information about the context of the bets, because if he's going, listen.
Believe me, if he's got an 8-month ban, I'm almost putting my neck on the line here and saying that there's games that he's been involved in.
But didn't Joey Barton get a big ban for it?
Not for 8 months.
He got years, didn't he?
No, don't think so.
Sure he did,
He got banned, but listen, if thousands of bets.
If Ivan Toney is doing a fucking 20 quid accumulator on 5 teams,
I don't think he is though, is he?
Well, that's what we don't
know. No, it's fair point. I think there should be context. I'm sure there will be some context. I'd be almost certain that once the appeal window's away, they'll probably tell you. Not specifically what games, but they'll probably tell you.
If he is putting 20 grand on the ball to go out and play in the first 60 seconds,
like back in the 80s,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Lad. But if he's having a little 20 quid accumulator in 5 games in League 2,
but again,
that's harsh,
listen, mate, the rules have been there, and he doesn't need the money, does he?
No,
and I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what it's about.
But I don't gamble because I need money, I gamble because I enjoy it. I like having me little 20 quid on 4 draws or whatever.
But he's in a position where
he's not affecting fucking 22
no,
plays
I'm not,
in League 2.
I'm not saying it. I wasn't where I was going with it. He's in a position where he gets his buzz on a different level. He should do from the industry he's in. So it's one of the things you've got to accept.
I get that, mate, but
it's the same. Like I said before, it's inside trading. If you're a stockbroker or if you work, in a financial industry, you can't like bet on a stock that you've got an influence over.
No,
like
I understand all that. I just think it's a bit of hypocritical for these betting companies to be making so much money. And listen, it is an addictive thing to do.
But you can say that, but it's not the betting companies that are taking them to charging them.
No, it's the FA. Then it's the FA the problem, who are allowing these betting companies to get the clause in, and then being so surprised when players are fucking.
I mean, what you're right. I think what I would say is the betting companies should be more responsible and obviously from a trading point of view, recognise when there's a professional footballer on their platform and go bang, stop it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you're right. They've if he's placed hundreds of bets, which is what it's alleged he's done. You're not telling me that whoever he was placing a bet with didn't know who Ivan Toney was within a week.
The fake names or whatever, brother's name or something.
I think it was. I think it was his name.
Was it?
Yeah, it wasn't like he wasn't trying to hide it.
Ivan, lad, you could have fucking at least played the game.
No, I think that would have been more difficult to prove. I think it was pretty clear cut, and he wasn't coming out and denying it.
I wonder how it's all been found out then, because surely that's confidential.
I think it was something in the realms of like membership of the players to the PFA. They've got to agree to X, Y, and Z. Right. It's like a GDPR exercise of saying that I agree to release data on blah.
Well, what I think was interesting, is a bit of a mad link to it into Formula 1 for a minute. If we can just cross thing, I seen a big thing come out, a big hoorah about. So basically, some of these big car companies like some McLaren and Williams and stuff like that are on one hand paying huge sponsorship fees to have renewable energy and saying that we're making safer cars and we're helping the greenhouse gases and stuff like that on one hand, right? So they're having sponsorship on shirts saying that we're doing our bit, right? And on the other hand, they're lobbying against positive changes. So someone's come out and said, this needs to stop, you shouldn't be allowed.
Can't be sitting in both camps, yeah.
So basically, I mean, I don't want
having a cake and eating it.
That's essentially what they're doing. So for a PR exercise, they are saying, we're going to sponsor Real Madrid, for argument's sake, and have McLaren, we're changing to electric cars, for example's sake. And then on the other hand, they're lobbying, paying big money to fucking keep on going with the fossil fuels.
They're using that.
So behind the scenes, when no one knows, they're lobbying so they can carry on doing what they're doing. But in the public eye, they're paying big money to support, saying, no, we're against it.
You're right, though. It is a little bit like the betting thing, isn't it? Or
exactly. It's this whole rule where...
It's hypocrisy, isn't it?
It's massive hypocrisy. And that's the thing where I think they're both in line. They both got comparisons where you can't on one hand be pumping all this money in, which is wrecking people's lives in one hand, gambling can do, and then being so fucking coming down, the FA coming down, you can't be doing that. You're fucking taking the money off them.
Well, the FA aren't, are they? The FA are not getting money from gambling companies. I think if the FA, if St George's Park or the Wembley was sponsored,
that'll trickle down somehow.
Well, all right, find me again. I stand to be corrected here. You go to Wembley tomorrow, you won't see Bet365 adverts and gambling companies being advertised.
Maybe not. But that trickle down effect, whether the betting companies are paying Sky, who are paying the Premier League, who are paying this,
yeah, I guess so. Listen, there'll be a thread somewhere, I guess, and you know, ignorance is bliss in that sense.
100%. Yeah.
If that money trickled down and it was being spent on grassroots, I've got no problem with that, because that's the same concept as banning someone, giving them a fine and saying, well, that money's going to charity, so we're not taking it. So I think by the same accounts that you're asking for an open book on what the bets were, I think there should be an open book commercially in terms of where that money from betting companies actually goes.
Big time, yeah. I think that was interesting with the F1 and the footy.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
A couple last things on footy. I seen Xabi Alonso took his name out the hat, hasn't he, for Tottenham? I didn't realise he was the front runner.
I mean, Tottenham have rather right touch as far as I'm concerned there. Not getting Alonso, I think it's still a bit too early for him.
Yeah, wait, well, you look at Lampard and Gerrard and you think, fucking hell, probably dodged the bullet, but I thought that was interesting. That
he's not been, I think they've got a second leg in the Europa League, or they got Roma, haven't they, tonight, I think.
Really?
In the second leg of the Europa League, I think it's...
He's obviously made a good start to his career, hasn't he? Fair play to him, but again, it's a high profile job, isn't it?
To go from Leverkusen, who are a middle-of-the-road German club, to Tottenham, arguably a middle-of-the-road Premier League club, but the money involved there and the expectation is on a different level. And I think he probably needs to be successful with Leverkusen in terms of getting them up there to challenge with Bayern and Dortmund before he gets a job in the Premier League, for me. Yeah.
Did you see any of the playoffs as well?
I didn't see that one last night because I was at the City game, obviously seeing the results. I mean, I seen a bit of the Millwall, Sunderland. I felt a bit sorry for Sunderland because, I mean, I didn't, because... Well, two things really. They got an unbelievable fan base. Sunderland's been 48,000 in that first leg. Yeah. And they've got a very young team as well, which again makes me think they're probably going to come back stronger next year. They're going to lose Diallo, who's been their star man in the last few months, but would have been great. I'd have liked to have seen Sunderland back in there.
Sunderland won, didn't they?
No. Luton knocked them out. Luton were in the final.
Sorry, yeah, but Middlesbrough got beat.
Middlesbrough got beat. I mean, that was for them, the turnaround they had from when Carrick went in has been miraculous, hasn't it? And they're in a good position to go again. The players that they've got in the main, apart from Archer, the two Villa lads.
It's whether they can keep hold of Carrick, though, I think.
Do you reckon? Where's he going?
He's getting linked to bloody some of the clubs when everyone's sacking managers.
Where's he going? Maybe. I mean, Leicester are potentially going down. I can't see who's taking Carrick now. Maybe it's the relegated clubs, and what are you going there for when you've maybe got...
I hope Luton come up now, though. I think their story of how many promotions they've got and stuff the last few years.
But, you know, you've got to feel for the Coventry fans what they've gone through, because they were a original Premier League club. They've been through the mill massively. They've got a good fan base. I've got some good memories of going to away games.
Played at their green there. Played footy on Rico, yeah.
It's good little ground as well. I mean, and they were close to going out of business. Not so long ago. So I'd personally like to see Coventry back in for that reason. I think the fans have been through it.
Mate, we'll touch on tennis for a minute. I never say his name properly. The Australian crazy one, Kyrgios.
Kyrgios plays news, didn't he?
Kyrgios, I think how you say his name. Anyway, he's
Kyrgios.
Yeah, he's out the French Open. Fucking no one's going to be playing in this French Open, mate. They're all fucking getting injured.
Dropping like flies.
Mate, Djokovic lost in
When's it start? Next week?
Next week, I think. Or the end of the month. So Djokovic lost in the quarters. This made me feel sad. He suffered his earliest exit in the Italian Open since 2013, when he was beaten by a rising Danish star. Now, this the bit that made me sad. He turns 36 next week, and this kid who beat him is only 20. And it just feels like, I know we've already had Federer retire. You got Nadal injury plagued, and you start seeing Novak at 36 getting beat by 20-year-olds. You're like,
it's not like the City thing, because he's not obviously cheated in any way, shape or form. But that's the evolution of sport,
it's life,
and it gives the younger players. I mean, I guess the disappointing thing is, you're not going to see, as we argued about a few weeks ago, you're not going to see 3-4 players that are going to be at that level for quite some time, are you?
No, which is mad as well, because Alcaraz was one of the players we mentioned. He actually got beat in the last 32. He's obviously going to be number one. I think he just did replace Novak as number one, but he was absolutely battered by a Hungarian qualifier, Fabian Morozan, in the last 32. Massive shock for him. So yeah,
there's a lot of players in that top 10 though who do drop sets easily and lose games easily.
And that's what you could
probably interchange a lot of that top 20, maybe aside from the top 3 or 4.
The top 3, and that's what again made me a little bit sad, is because you had those top 3 that every time. Obviously, 2 of them were making that final, 3 of them were making the semis, quarters at least. Listen, he's only young, Alcaraz. I'm sure he's obviously going to bounce back, but it was. And our Andy Murray suffered an early exit. I'm actually going to backtrack a little bit here, because I kind of doubled down on Andy Murray not being top 10, and we were having a bit of a chat afterwards, me and Gary, and the stats that you kind of brought to the table would suggest that he's firmly in the top 10. And I guess, listen, that's what happens on a podcast. You kind of sometimes, shoot.
You make a comment, you
shoot from the hip, and it's and then later on you think, actually, it was probably a bit wrong.
I think a lot of people assume as well that we sit here and premeditate everything we talk about. There's the odd topic where we say,
Gary, 10 minutes before, when do you want a tea? Sound. We got in, pressed record, and started talking. We're not like Sky Sports, Gary Neville, Carragher. It's just 2 mates talking shite. So as we would in a pub. So yeah, fair play to Andy Murray. I will say he's probably top 10.
But I did say that in that same one that he can only play one tournament a month now, max.
Well, we thought he'd probably miss out the Italian in further the French. Well, he essentially has, because he got beat in the first round. So, but yeah, maybe we have to wrap up. I actually had one of the lads in the gym come up to me this week and said, "That new lad, that blue nose across the park." He went, "I'm a red, but I've signed up for that." It's a good little listen, isn't it?
Good stuff.
So you don't have to be a blue to sign up to Across the Park. And yeah, if you are a bit like me, it's good to listen to their misery.
Oh yeah, we got some right stick over my comments that Millsy does with me. He was like, "Nice one for that, putting us a ride under the cosh." And we're eagerly waiting to see if all the Blues just jump ship, but thankfully they've stuck with us so far.
No, mate, it's a good job. I have listened to the odd few and stuff, the odd post match reaction and stuff. So keep it up. Don't forget, follow Gary and Across the Park and get involved in that. Big thanks once again for listening. We are going to be starting up potentially the betting tips again and Patreon shows and stuff going forward. So now's the time to get signed up and support the boys in the pod. As always, thank you very much and have a boss weekend.